Hey guys, welcome to my home. Today I am making collards and sauerkraut and black-eyed peas and pork tenderloin. Collards from my garden, guys. Collards, I'm so excited. It's so neat to be able to grow food from your garden, from a tiny little seed, and feed your family the nourishing values of that. I'm so pumped. So these are my collards. They're super green and beautiful. And they couldn't be easier to make. Here's my other pot. Like, I don't have a pot big enough for all the collards that came out of my garden, guys. The harvest was awesome. So once you get your collard inside, you're going to slice down the sides of the spine. You don't want that spine part. I know that's probably not the right terminology, but you don't want the spiny looking part in the middle that holds the leaf together. You want to cut that out, toss that to your chickens or compost it, or if you don't have either one of those, the trash, which is sad. But and you're going to save those leaves. You might want to cut them in half just to make them smaller and faster to cook. And you're going to put them in with water, but they're going to be overflowing. Just fill the pot with water where it is level or just below the top leaves in your pot, and it will wilt down within 5 to 10 minutes, and it will continue to wilt down till there's more water probably than collards. My husband actually goes into the grocery store and probably get 16 bundles before I actually grew it ourselves, and people looked at him like he's crazy because his cart is overflowing, and they're like, holy cow, dude, you are insane. But it's funny when you see somebody in a grocery store and they're buying one little thing of collards. I mean, it's like, ma'am, do you know that's only one bite of collards? You don't know how to eat collards now, do you? So the next thing I'm going to do is cut up this pork. Excuse me. Storm, my dog, is scratching her ear. I'm going to cut this pork in half, and then we're going to cook this for our roast today. Wash my knife off. And I could take it out of here, but I just feel like it might be easier to store it again. And I'll put it in a Ziploc with inside this. Then we're going to cut off that silver skin. I guess it's silver skin. That big old fat thing right there, I'm not keeping that. Okay, I just rinsed this off, and I'm gonna pat it dry. And then I'm gonna cut off that skin that I do not wish to eat. So let me edit what I said earlier. This is not just a southern cooking. So the southern is the collards, and I'm gonna make some black-eyed peas. But the pork and the sauerkraut, well, that's actually northern, since we have a northern southern family. We just kind of combined the best of both worlds. Oh no, it doesn't fit. Maybe. So I have this on a medium high. I'm gonna let it braise or saute real quick on all sides, and then I'm going to add some water to it and let it boil down. So while this is getting ready, I'm going to get some black-eyed peas out of my newly reorganized pantry. Guys, I am loving this organized pantry. The girls are loving it. It's funny because my husband came in, he's like, there's no food. Well, there is food. We have the basis for making food. We don't really do that many cans. We use freezer food, and like I said, we're doing trying to do more whole foods. But let me find the black-eyed peas. Oh, right here. I can see them. It's so easy to get. I'm gonna need 2. What's cool too is, if you don't know, these are actually the seeds. You can put these in the ground and grow your own plants and get more black-eyed peas. And then you can dry them or freeze them, whatever you want to do. Very cool stuff here. So what's cool about this new journey that we're going on, trying to eat even better than we have before, is I've tried one of these. I've seen people on other channels eat these. They are acorn squash. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe these are acorn squash. They look like an acorn, and they are squash. Oh my goodness, they're so good. The other day I made some roasted acorn squash. I haven't tried this spaghetti squash yet, but butternut squash, potatoes, carrots, all roasted with some herbs from my garden and some butter and olive oil. Oh my gosh. Oh, and onions too. They were amazing. I could just eat that as a meal. It was so, so good. So I have a predicament. I am out of burners and I need to make bacon for seasoning. This has been on for about an hour, and at this point I'm going to add in my sauerkraut, and I'm not going to drain this or anything. I'm just going to add it straight into this and infuse the pork and the sauerkraut together. Is that the right word? Anywho, let's do this. And I can't wait to start making my own sauerkraut. I have some cabbage out in the garden and I want to try my hand at my own sauerkraut. And right here, I am trying my hand at my own chicken broth. I'm so excited to try this. It's my very first time trying this broth, and I'll let you know how it goes. But for now, let's add in the sauerkraut. This stuff smells pretty horrible, but it tastes so good. I mean, all these earthy tones and the flavors. So once I've added all this, I'm just gonna let it go for another hour or so. This is kind of like one of those roast, beef roast, that you can just let it go for as long as you want, and the flavor just gets better and better. I'm gonna be frying 3 packs of bacon because bacon gives it its flavor alongside of the salt pork. If you just did salt pork, it wouldn't have near as much flavor. So you can actually put bacon in with your collard greens and your black-eyed peas. And my black-eyed peas are gone because I went and actually took them over to my mother-in-law's house and father-in-law's house because I needed their burners. Oh, hear that sizzle. Oh, it's sticking. Let me cut this in half. Oh, alrighty then. So this is the salt pork I use to season our collards and our black-eyed peas. I forgot to film it, but here it is. That's what's laying on top there. And I will just smush it down, not a big deal. I'm just smush it down, get it incorporated. And once the bacon is done, I'm gonna put all that grease in there. I'm a part of a homesteading group on Facebook, and somebody commented something that really made me sad one day. They said, "What do you do with bacon grease? I've been throwing it out." I was like, oh, no, you did not just throw out bacon grease. Like, have you lost your mind? And so I commented and I was like, use it for seasoning, cooking, everything. I mean, people put them in cupcakes. I bet that's pretty good. I've never done that. And people make candles to smell like bacon. Now that would just make me mad. Like I can't, honestly, first of all, I don't want to smell bacon and not be able to partake in eating the bacon. And then second of all, you're wasting amazing grease that you could be seasoning your food with. And I was just appalled. I was like, you people are crazy. But there was some other people that commented the same as me. It's like, use it for baking, like, not baking, for cooking. Like, it seasons everything. And even like onions, I can't get enough of onions and garlic. Oh, yeah, any recipe that's like 1 clove of garlic, I put a whole head in there, or maybe 2, because we do love some garlic, and garlic is another one of those things that's so good for you, just like onions, really. I mean, there's so many things that used in the culinary world just because it's a seasoning that really you don't realize that it's full of vitamins and minerals and stuff that your body really needs. And it's just so neat. Like, it's neat to finally be at a place where I feel like I'm doing our bodies much more justice internally, and knowing what we're eating is actually really healthy for us, and it's more of like a medicine. What we eat can be a medicine, or it could be a poison, like I said in my last video. You weren't here for our last video. We are on a journey. We are moving away from all the processed and going into more whole foods, where we eat, you know, the melons, and we eat collard greens. Anything that's like God made, we want to be eating that because he knew what he was doing, right? And even like you can think of it also from a biblical standpoint, if you even really want to go there, bread is not bad for you. And I have a video on that as well, talking about how good bread is for you. Not the flour that they, honestly, that they sell at the stores, but if you buy wheat berries, it has 44 nutrients that your body needs to survive. The flour that's already milled and is good for like 3 years that we buy at the store, or I used to buy at the store, it has three. So the bread of life, he is the bread of life, right? So bread is good. But it's really cool to get back to nature, get back to the old way of cooking and eating, even what some people would say was peasant food. It's actually the more nutritious food that helps sustain your body. And my broth finally got done. We took the meat off of it last night and had chicken, what is it called? Chicken salad. And we put the bones back in there, and it was only one chicken breast, so, well, excuse me, I don't know if you heard her. That was Storm moaning in her sleep. So it's only one chicken breast, so there's not going to be a whole lot of broth, but this is my first try, and from now on, I'm not going to buy boneless chicken, anything, because I want the bones, because there's collagen, vitamins, minerals, everything. It's all about the vitamins and minerals that your food brings to your body, and I'm so excited about this. So here we go. I'm going to hopefully have something to show for this. Can you get that? Are you seeing what I'm doing here? Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to bring you around here so you can see. And I'm pouring it into that bowl right there. So I'm just straining all of these bones, but this juice is what I'm looking for. I'm not getting a whole lot of juice because it's not the biggest amount of chicken, but next time I will load this thing chock full. All right, that's good. But it's a nice rich color. I didn't add any vegetables or anything to mine because I was just wanting to try this out for the first time. But I have my mason jar here, and I'm just going to put it in here now since I've already strained it. And that is some rich homemade broth, which this should solidify, hopefully. And even if it doesn't, I'm going to use it in any kind of soups or cooking of any kind. I mean, it's like, that's just so neat to actually do something. If you have a different way of doing this, let me know, because I'm a newbie. I'm going to be making mistakes. I'm going to need your help to show me better ways, tell me better ways, and I'll try them out. So my bacon is finishing up. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up some potatoes for the mashed potatoes. Now, I didn't know how to make, hey Madison. I didn't know how to make mashed potatoes when I moved out and got married and all that. And I haven't made mashed potatoes consistently until probably this year, because it's so much easier. I mean, yes, you can get the potato flakes, but they don't taste like homemade mashed potatoes. Now, these have eyes. Some people would be appalled, but you can just cut them off and eat them. If it was closer to our planting season, and that's another month, I would cut them and let them heal. Is it heal over? Form a little scab. It's gross sounding in the kitchen. Anyway, you can cut these and plant them in your garden. It's not early enough for me to do that because I think you only have a few days for them to be planted after they heal over, or they might start molding. I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to cut these and put them in my compost. You can throw them away, whatever you want to do, but it's perfectly fine to eat these. I do it all the time. I am still alive. You see me, I'm alive. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these off. And these don't have any kind of dirt on them at all. However, I probably do need to wash them off first. So I'm going to finish doing this one and I'm going to wash the rest. And this is a 5-pound bag. I'm going to add a little bit of russet to it because that's what I have. I mix my potatoes all the time and it doesn't seem to bother anybody. especially me. These potatoes, there are just different flavors, slightly different textures, but they're all good. So I'm gonna put the rest of these in my bowl and rinse them off. If you wanted to plant these, oh goodness. If you wanted to plant these, there's a bunch of eyes on here. Like I would say this one, and I'd cut it, let it just sit out for 3 days. It'll form like a little scab, and then it'll harden over. And then you can plant it in the ground just like that. And it will have all these little plants that come up from these little nubs, eyes, whatever you want to call them. And so then I would also cut this one. Let it scab over. I hate the word scab. Oh, heal. I'm just gonna say heal over. It's gonna heal over right here. And you plant it down just like that. And then your other, I would just take these two. They're not the best. And you can make them smaller, a little bit smaller, but I would plant that just like that. And then possibly right here. Yeah, and plant that. Now inadvertently, I just did that and I don't have a potato to put in my water. Scatterbrain. So, because I'm gonna eat these, I'm gonna put this piece in there and these are gonna turn to mush more than the other stuff. But anyhow, I showed you how to plant them. I did end up rinsing this again and now I'm just filling it back up with water to put on for boil. That grease did a number on my oven. It was so nice and clean and now it's like, ew, it's disgusting. So you're gonna wanna put your potatoes, this is 5 pounds of potatoes. If your family eats a little bit more or you have a bigger family, then you could put in another half, 2 pounds or even 10 pounds. I've done that too because it'll go for days. I love cooking a lot, so we have extra and I don't have to cook 2 days in a row. It's wonderful. You're gonna wanna salt your water. So I use the Redmond salt. It doesn't matter what salt you use, just use some salt and salt the water. And then set it to boil. And in about 20 minutes, depending on how big your cuts of potato are, depends on how fast it boils and cooks. Mine is generally 20 minutes because I cut them in halves and quarters, depending on the size of the potato. And then it's so easy. All you have to do is, I like to add cream if I have it on hand, but you can add milk and butter and you blend it and that is it. That's it. I mean, how simple. So you can have homemade in about 25 minutes because prep time, maybe 5 minutes. You're gonna pour in your bacon grease, stir it around. The bacon grease is what's really gonna give it the flavor. The salt pork is gonna give it the salty. You also are gonna need to season it with some more salt. This is some solidified bacon grease I had on hand. It was just enough to add to the black-eyed peas. Once my collards are ready, I like to put them in a pan and cut them into smaller bite-sized pieces before I serve them. After about 20 minutes, then give or take, depending on the size of your potato, like I said before, it's time to strain your potatoes and then put them into the blender. Now, you can use a handheld mixer or a fork, whatever you have, and just mix them up. And you're just gonna add some butter, and then you're gonna wanna add some milk. And go light on the milk, because if you add too much milk, there's really no way to come back from that. These are mashed potatoes and it didn't take any time at all and they taste so good. Now I like to put salt on the table so everyone can salt theirs more if they like it and also butter theirs more if they like it. But I mean, this is the final product. It's so good. Nothing like real mashed potatoes. And I need some black-eyed peas. little bit of onion. Oh, on the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. A little bit of onion on the black eyed peas, not the collards. It just gives a little crunch and a little more flavor. I love the bite it brings. And I don't usually put, I don't usually put bacon on it, but I haven't had the opportunity. Usually we have bacon grease left over, but I had to make it fresh today. So I think it'll be a really nice crunch as well. Like I take the salt pork out because I don't like that slimy bit. I like just the collards, but this I think would be nice. And it's aesthetically pleasing. So there you have it, guys. This is a Southern and Northern Cross dinner. We eat it a lot for New Year's Day. This is my favorite meal of the year. So you just get a little bit of everything on your fork. That is the right way to do it. Just like that. That is delicious. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.